Hello my small fat adaptive family and welcome back to the Keto Kitchen. It is dessert week on week 6 of the Great British Bake Off. This week has left me, honestly, feeling really nervous. With a signature consisting of meringue cakes, a technical being verines that included a lot of mango, which is not a keto friendly fruit, and the showstopper being these bombe cakes that just look so complicated. I've really been in a rut in the last 12 hours on what to do. I've been staring at Ginger's Great British Bake Off episode where she's ketofied the category of the week and she's made this lovely mousse, and I've just been sat watching, just wishing that I was only watching and not getting involved myself. And I've been sat in a rut because I've never heard of any of these desserts. Meringues, yes, I know what a meringue is, but a meringue cake, I didn't even know that was a thing. In terms of the verines, I know what panna cotta is, but that's about it. And the bombe cake, not only have I never heard of one, I also nearly completely wrote it off just because of its name. Luckily though, I've realised the word bombe in this context has an E on the end. Otherwise, I wouldn't have even thought about putting it on the channel because, you know, with YouTube's deadly algorithm absolutely sniping videos and things that are associated with weapons, I didn't want our little baking video to be taken down by YouTube. So why am I doing what I'm doing today? I cannot tell you how badly I wanted to do the verines. They were the simplest of the three, and they were going to be the one that didn't mean I had to stay up half the night writing a recipe. But I just felt like I couldn't do them justice because I'm taking away the main ingredient, which is the mangoes. So it wouldn't be the verine that we saw on Bake Off at all. So what's the point? And the meringue cakes, I mean, you can make meringues on keto. You can make soft ones and you can make hard ones. But the thing with meringues is that they are very sickly sweet with or without sweetener. And the problem is we don't have really heavily sweet stuff in this house. So what would happen is I'd make it, I'd try it, and then it would just go to waste. So I just don't want to waste food. Which leaves me with the bombe cake. A bombe cake being a cake that is shaped like a bomb or a cannonball to have on special occasions. And this week I will be ketofying Alice's Tiramisu bombe cake. This will consist of a sponge cake that is moulded into our bombe, and it will be filled with a chocolate mousse and coated with a flavoured mascarpone. As always, a few notes before we start. Firstly, Alice did a pistachio parfait. I'm not going to do this, and there's two reasons to this. Firstly, pistachio is one of the highest carb nuts, and she used quite a lot of them. Secondly, I just feel like it would add too much bulk to our keto cake. We don't need to go as extravagant as carbers because this is a celebration for us anyway because we're making a cake. And my second note is I have not made this recipe before. I watched the episode that aired at 8 PM. I spent half the night writing a recipe, went to bed, woke up, set up, ready to record. So this is my one shot at making this, and if it fails, you get to see all of that on camera. Nice short intro today. Let's get straight into the cooking. In terms of ingredients, you will need, for the sponge, 1.5 cups or 150 grams of almond flour, 1/6 of a cup or 16 grams of whey protein powder. You can use a flavored protein powder if you want. I'm just using unflavored, and as always, I'm using my protein, really low carb stuff, really recommend it. A teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 cup or 56 grams of butter that has been softened, 1/4 cup of sweetener, I am using erythritol, 1 large egg, 1/8 cup or 26 grams of coconut oil that has been softened, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now you might notice immediately my vanilla extract is a lot lighter and there's a lot more of it. This is because I'm actually using a sugar-free syrup just because I prefer the taste of it. It's not as highly concentrated. 1/4 cup or 62 ml of almond milk and 100 ml of strong brewed coffee. I'm just using instant decaf stuff. For the mascarpone mixture, you will need 3 egg yolks, 1/2 cup of sweetener, 180 grams of mascarpone, 1 tablespoon of dark rum. This is of course optional. I am using Kraken's dark rum, and 300 ml of double, or Americans call it heavy, cream. For your chocolate mousse, you will need 3 ounces or 85 grams of cream cheese that has been softened, 1/2 cup or 150 ml of double or heavy cream, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 3 tablespoons of sweetener, 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. Before you buy the cocoa powder, always check the carbs, because some brands just add sugar into their cocoa powder. A pinch of instant coffee granules, and 15 grams of pistachios that have been chopped. And of course the pistachios are optional. I know I said I wasn't going to do a pistachio parfait, but you know, 15 grams of pistachios chopped up into the mousse, it's not a massive amount, and it is a celebration cake. And to decorate, you will want 30 grams of dark chocolate that has been finely chopped. Make sure your dark chocolate is above 70%. I'm using 85% Lindt, and half a teaspoon of cocoa powder. You will also need a 2-litre bowl, cling film, or I believe it's called plastic wrap or saran wrap elsewhere, 1 to 2 large baking pans. This will depend on the size of them. I'm just using 1 large, very shallow casserole dish. And now we move on to the method. So the first thing you want to do before we even start getting cooking is you want to get your 2-litre bowl, and you want to cover the innard with cling film plastic wrap like that. It doesn't look attractive, but we need to do this to make sure that we can release our cake later. You want to make sure you've got quite a lot of excess on the sides, so that, you know, if it doesn't come out, we've got something to work with to try and convince it to come out. Once you've done that, set it to the side. Preheat the oven to 170 Celsius or 325 Fahrenheit. And the next thing you want to do is prepare your baking sheets. I've got this large casserole dish with some greaseproof paper in it. I'm also going to spray it with some coconut oil when we get to that point, but that's it. Okay, so we're going to start with the sponge. You want to get your almond flour, you want to add your whey protein, and you want to add your baking powder. Give that a really good mix. Once that's nice and well mixed, and you know there's no lumps from the baking powder or anything, you're just going to set that aside. Then in a large bowl, you get your sweetener and you pop your soft butter in there, and you're going to beat that until it's well combined and light and fluffy. Once it is light and fluffy, we're going to add vanilla extract, coconut oil, and our egg. And then again, we're just going to beat that all in until it's nice and well combined. Once that's nice and well combined, we add in half of our almond mixture and beat that in. Then we add in our almond milk and beat that in. Once that's well mixed and you're left with sort of a sloppy-ish kind of batter, you then want to add in the rest of the almond mixture. Once you're happy with your mixture, get out your prepared baking sheet, and as I said, I'm just going to give mine a spray with my coconut oil as well. Take your cake batter and place it in your baking sheet. Remember, this is going to be the sort of outer moulding of our bombe. You want it to be thin, but not so thin that it breaks apart. Once you're happy with how you've spread it out, I'm going to pop this in the oven for, I'm going to say 15 to 18 minutes. Of course, I will check it probably about 12 and let you know how long it took until it was ready. When it's ready, it should have risen and it should be starting to just go golden brown. Cake's out of the oven, it took 20 minutes. I just double checked it by putting a knife in. It came out clean, so I know that it's ready. So while that's just cooling down a little bit, we're going to start on the mascarpone that will go in the cake and will be piped onto the cake. So in this bowl I have my egg yolks and I've got my sweetener. I'm just going to add my sweetener and I'm just going to beat this until it's pale and fluffy. That probably took me about 10 seconds to do. So our egg mixture just gets set to the side. Bring out your mascarpone and your rum if you're using it. Add the rum to the mascarpone and just beat this until it's nice and stiff and well combined. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this mascarpone mixture and I'm going to decant it into a different bowl so I can reuse this bowl. This is partly to save on washing up, but it's partly because this is what Alice says to do in her recipe, so this is what we're doing. I've just had a little taste of that, and actually I genuinely don't think there's enough rum, so I'm going to just probably add about another teaspoon's worth of rum into it, give it another quick beat. Set this mixture aside, your mascarpone mixture. Take your cream, add it to the bowl you've just decanted, and at this point you're going to want to get an electric mixer out. And I'm just going to beat this cream into stiff peaks. Once you're happy with the consistency of your whipped cream, you want to take your mascarpone and rum mixture, and add it in. And then we're just going to fold it in. Once those two are well combined, take your egg and sweetener mixture, add that in, and then fold that in as well. Now the consistency is a little bit too runny for me, so I'm just going to whack the electric mixer back on this for a few minutes and get it sort of aerated and puffed back up a little bit. Okay, I'm a lot happier with the consistency of this. I'm going to plonk this in the fridge for just a couple of minutes, just while we do the next step. The next step is to get your big 2-litre bowl, get your sponge, and start moulding it. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a circle to go in the base, and then I'm going to cut sort of into thin strips and like a jigsaw piece, just fit it here and there. I'm going to squish it a little bit because this is quite a soft sponge, so it's squishable. I'm just going to keep doing this until I fill this bowl, hopefully with a little bit left over. Doesn't look like it though. I'm going to make sure I use all these crumbs to just fill in little gaps, because you want to make sure there's no gaps. Do you know what? I'm going to use up all this cake. What I was going to do was do layers with sponge in between them, but I don't actually have enough cake to do that, so we're just going to use up all this cake. And I'm trying to get it as level as possible as well, because the errors will come from trying to get it out with uneven edges. I've got my strong brewed coffee, and I'm basically just going to paint the whole cake. Lovely. So now we have a much darker bomb cake. Okay, so I'm going to get my mascarpone back out the fridge, and I'm going to pour about a third of this into the base of this bomb cake. It's still a little bit too smooth for my liking, but there's not much I can do about that now. I've tried whisking it. I think I just folded it a little bit too aggressively. That's now going to get set aside, and the bomb cake is going to go in the fridge. Because what I was intending to do is to have a sponge layer on top of that then the mousse goes on top of, but I don't have enough sponge cake, and I'm not going to make another sponge cake, so we're just going to have to wing it. While that's in the fridge, we're going to start the chocolate mousse. So in a large bowl, I'm going to add my cream cheese, and I'm going to beat it on a low speed until it's nice and fluffy. So now that that's beaten, I've got my cream and I've got my vanilla extract, and I'm just going to put this on a low speed and slowly add these two ingredients in. So I've beaten that for about a minute, and now I'm just going to add my cocoa powder, my sweetener, my little bit of instant coffee, and another optional ingredient, my pistachios. I'm going to turn the mixer onto high, and I'm going to beat this until it's light and fluffy. We had a technical problem then, so you've just missed what I've done. What I've done is I've basically put the mousse into the bomb cake. The mascarpone is still soft, so the mousse is just sunken into it. So I've just left it like that. I'm not mixing it in, but I'm just kind of stroking the top of the mousse just to get it spread evenly all the way across so everyone can try the mousse. And because my mascarpone is too soft and I'm going to have to pipe with it, I'm just going to off camera whisk it. Gorgeous. So this is what I'm left with, and all I'm going to do is whack this in the fridge for 4 hours. I'm not taking any chances and saying, oh, maybe 3, maybe this. No, this is going in for 4 hours. I'll be back in 4 hours and we'll see whether it's ready or not. So it is hours later. I had it in the fridge for about 3.5 hours, and then I moved it to the freezer for an hour and 15, an hour and 20, just because despite me whisking up the mascarpone again, it was just very, very soft. So I thought freezer's the best option, and now it's been in the fridge for just a couple of minutes while I set everything up so that we could get on with this first look and taste test. It feels firm. I don't really know how to go about this. I think probably the best thing is to flip that round like that. How am I meant to do this? Oh, I haven't thought about this, have I? Okay, let me turn it back over. Can I get any of that off without breaking it? Oh my god, it is stuck. Hello. Got problems just like Alice had. Maybe if I just take a knife down that back edge, take a blunt knife down that back edge to just release it, maybe? Let's go with that. What happens if I lift? Ah! Oh! Oh! Let's flip it over. So you can see it's quite ugly. For decoration, I'm going to get out the mascarpone, and we're going to, I know I said in the recipe pipe it, but I'm not going to pipe it. It's not thick enough to pipe. I'm just going to beautifully paint it on. So yeah, this not so thick mascarpone mixture, I'm literally, like I said, probably just going to pour some on and then kind of mix it about. It's not as pretty as Alice's was. I've got some cocoa powder that I'm just going to splatter on. I was going to sieve it, but I quite like that sort of splatter effect. Really don't need as much of it as I've said. Why did I do that? And then I've got some dark chocolate as well. Now, here comes the fun bit. Cutting into this bad boy. Okay, the middle has melted. Yep. The mousse hasn't. This is Alice's tiramisu bomb cake made keto. Let's have a taste. Oh, make sure I get some of that mousse on there as well. That mousse is beautiful and thick and very coffee, not massively like cocoa, but very coffee. The base is very thick and quite stodgy, and it works stunningly. And then you've got this really sickly sweet mascarpone. Stunning. Wow, I don't even like tiramisu. It's not like overpoweringly rummy or chocolatey or anything. It all just balances really nice. I can't taste any of that pistachio that I put in, so that kind of feels like a waste. But otherwise, the only thing I would change is the consistency of the mascarpone and make it a little less sweet. And in terms of macronutrients, this serves 10. Per serving, you are looking at 49 grams of fat, 9 grams of protein, and 4 net carbs. So I can absolutely say that this week is a fat bomb. This is a fat bomb cake. Fantastic. Join me next week for Festival Week. With that being said, that is all for this video. Leave a like if you found it interesting, insightful, or helpful. Subscribe if you're inclined. Any questions, any comments, any queries, anything down below. Keep calm, keto on. Thanks for watching.